Chase. My understanding, it's been through the subcommittee, the CPAC subcommittee, right? And
They took it. They saw it. They saw it before I even saw it. Yeah.
It's past that. Has it gone through the full CPAC? Is it past
Yeah.
that point yet?
Yeah, but they're willing to bring it back. They said that tonight.
So it can go back.
Sure. Usually the CBAC's problem
Will
is.
the CPAC make that decision? Can they rescind their recommendation or their?
Yeah,
or their,
they have made no recommendation, and they've made no recommendation because nobody was here to do it.
yeah.
The CPAC's biggest problem on stuff like this is usually they only have one bite of the apple because the process moves in 6-week increments. And sometimes they see things like at the last possible moment, and sometimes they see it at the very beginning. And I think they got this one almost in advance, accidentally. Well, it's just how it fell on the schedule and when it went out that they heard it last month. But the chair has stated she's willing, because I've delayed it and given them time to take it up at the next CPAC meeting if that's, if that's the process. But usually what they do is, in all fairness, they want to hear both sides. They want to hear the applicant and they want to hear the neighborhood. And I would suggest that you get a representative to speak on your behalf. And bring your attorney. Your attorney can do that. So it was somebody.
Lawrence Lawson, I'm a president of Greenland Chase. And I wondered, you said there were email addresses we could email the staff.
Yeah.
What are those email addresses?
Let me get that out to your Miss Brewer. I think it's y'all's HOA. Is she here? Oh, hey, how you doing again? I'll email you some address that you can that they consist of too. Can you get it out for me?
Actually, I think we might have that.
Okay.
I think we might have
We'll
that.
redisseminate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got folks Huxford, that's who you can send it to. He's the chief, and he'll be there Thursday night. He's the chief of planning. He's the chief of zoning.
So I'm Norm Brewer. I sent you an email as well. First of all, appreciate you coming out tonight.
Sure.
No, we do not want to have an adversarial relationship with you or any other council member because we feel that when the facts are heard, it'll go in our favor. It may or may not, but our slogan kind of is, even if you can do it, maybe you shouldn't do it. And that's a community outreach that company's going to have to deal with. As far as your town hall meeting,
The next town hall meeting.
you're talking about the one coming up on Thursday.
No, I'm talking about tonight.
Oh,
I was joking. We're having one right
We're
here.
doing a warm-up right now. There are certain things that, we're pushing for certain things through our attorney, different processes as well. So I don't, and just to be fair, I don't think that we're going to present subject matter experts at a town hall meeting. I think we.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night is you asking questions and getting
Thursday.
answers. Thursday night. Right. I keep thinking that. So it's
Exactly.
not about presenting evidence
Exactly.
tomorrow night. You ask your questions and give their answers, because that's part of the that's part of the process for you to go and build your testimony. When it matters is when you go to LUZ, that is the court hearing, so to speak. Land use and zoning, now there is the planning commission, and don't bypass that one either, because they are volunteers. They're not elected, but they are volunteers who got appointed to the planning commission, and they are an advisory. They do issue an advisory opinion just like our staff report. So there's our planning commission report, and it's our staff report that gets put into evidence when land use and zoning hears this case.
Well, you answered one of our major questions tonight was
Okay.
if you have a meeting on Thursday, are they going to write a staff
No.
report on Friday to push this through?
He
on
promised
June
me
3rd?
he would not.
Okay. And then secondly, I want you to know that we as a community, we're not opposed to the concept of waste transfer stations.
Right.
Not at all. We understand logistical and economic benefits to those. But we do have a list of concerns that's not just, indigenous to our area. These things have been in other areas throughout
I've read
the country.
255
There you go.
emails.
You get it.
I have read your emails, guys. I didn't just.
So,
Thank you.
I know you have conversations also with the applicant, but before we get to that bottleneck in the road, you can tell we're not so adversarial against the concepts as much as we are the location and the vetting of that location. And as far as the definition, and utility of those substations, I can tell you probably everybody here has gotten a PhD in the last 3 weeks on waste transfer stations. So however much time they want to spend when they do their, I think you're going to afford them the opportunity to open your presentation
Yeah,
on
about
Thursday night.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. If they want to spend their time defining, what that is, I can tell you, we pretty much have got a PhD on what it is. We've gone to school.
So just to give you an idea, a lot of times in rezonings, certainly, and I saw an application tonight I haven't even seen tonight of some apartments, and I went, well, they haven't even given me a call. Yes, district council members always like to meet with applicants on rezonings and so forth, okay? That's just like, come and ask, I don't like surprises no more than anybody. And for this transfer, so council has been discussing a transfer station for quite a while. There's no doubt. And so they put out an RFP for anybody to build a transfer station anywhere, okay? Waste Pro picked up that ball and worked with the city, negotiate a contract, but they didn't have a place, okay? They just negotiated an agreement. This is what you're gonna hear, giving you kind of preliminary. But they hadn't chosen a spot. So what I'm telling you this for a reason is, I do have to, every council member has to declare what we call ex parte. When we meet with the applicant, we have to tell you when we met with them and why we met with them and what we talked about. So somebody said, public records, what's your correspondence? I've met with this applicant twice. One was this morning, where I handed him some emails, some representative emails, and say, this is the questions you need to be prepared for. And we also discussed Plan B. Okay? Some of your residents have shown me some alternate locations. Now, I can't tell them where to go build, but I said, you should be prepared to answer why you consider this one over other type of thing. That was my conversation this morning at breakfast to get them prepared for Thursday. And my only other meeting is, I did meet with them on site back in February, March. And part of my due diligence as a district council member, anytime application, is to go see what it is they're doing and treat the application as though it's going to pass. And what do I mean by that? Is I look at it and I point out concerns that I automatically see that people would have from experience. And I did walk this property with the applicant, and we did, and so they're doing what they call a PUD, which is a custom zoning. So it allows us to be able to say, we do not want any development for 350 yards from the property line. And that's what this has, because I told them they need to stay as far away, because y'all's neighborhood, when you hear about this, will probably have something to say. I knew that, right? Experience. Maybe not to the degree. But we talked about the site plan and so forth. Doesn't mean I support it. Doesn't mean I'm against it. I just worked out, if this were to, I could vote against it, and 10 of my colleagues could vote for it, and it passes. I just want you to realize that. So I'm there to talk with everybody, work with everybody, in order to make the process as well as, so there's 2 times. That's the only time I've met with this applicant. That's my ex parte that I've declared to y'all tonight. So it's not like I've got this cozy relationship, but this time around, in talking with these guys, it's actually been few and far between. So, so anyway, I'll learn some things Thursday night as well from your questions that perhaps I haven't even heard answered.
Danny, you just mentioned that
I'll get you those.
when this kind of a zoning application comes in,
Right.
that your process says there's no development, that there's no development 350 yards from there.
Yeah.
Is that new development, or then even existing developments are kind of considered?
That means they will promise not to build on the, we established kind of a buffer.
Okay.
Now, once again, this is all going to be part of their site plan and so forth. So go look at the site plan.
Oh,
look
we
at,
have.
yeah, and look, and certainly, once again, I'm just saying, and I'm not telling you what to do, okay? I'm just telling you how the process sometimes works to the benefit of everybody. Sometimes people maybe aren't so opposed as I see here, and they're saying, hey, we could be for this if you did this, this, and this. A PUD gives you that ability to say, don't do this, this, and this. That's all I'm saying, okay? I'm not telling you to compromise. I'm not telling you to be for it. I'm not telling you to be against it. I'm just telling you how the process works. And in that regard, remember, my only meeting when I walked the site was to give them some feedback as to me putting myself in y'all's shoes, what would I want? I wasn't gonna tell them not to do it because that's their business.
So here's the
Yeah,
feedback.
let me answer her
Yeah, and
question.
then I'll come back to your comment.
So you said that you recommended a buffer of 150 feet, right?
I'm just saying, I pointed out that they should stay far away from the neighborhood. at this point.
Typically, do they try to follow the
If they want my vote.
suggestions? I was just curious because the buffer is only 50 feet. and
A
I
buffer
was-
is normally only 10 feet. And
Well,
it's
I
not
know.
normally tree line. It's in part of what I kind of said
But
was
normally
keep
you
the
don't
trees
have
in.
a waste.
No, I was just answering your question when you said normal.
Yeah.
By code, it's only 10 feet,
Okay.
okay? Commercial up against residential, the buffer is by code 10 feet.
But saying that if you're gonna take what's there, and if you're not building anything, but they're not leaving the 350 feet untouched, right?
Yeah, they are.
But if you're gonna remove the trees and everything.
No, they're not.
oh, they're not.
I think that's what I gotta go back and revisit that, but that's what the
I was
site
just
plan
curious
shows,
about
yeah.
that.
I'm not here, I know we're getting into the weeds here and I don't mean to, but I'm just trying to give you some examples of how the process works. And I wanted to, and I think of things that people have kind of tried to make personal, about my position and what I've done or haven't done. And it's kind of being defensive a little bit. I want you to understand that I do represent you as much as I represent all my constituents. And like I said, I'm a stickler for the process and I will obey the process.
Real quick in
Yeah.
response to your comment about Plan B and mediating, finding some middle ground. I can tell you as a community and as a group, because right now the opposition has gathered traction even outside of Greenland Chase.
Yeah, I've gotten emails like that.
Yes, our first stance is very adamant and very much set up in concrete. Until that city council votes against us, we're not here to negotiate with an applicant on which way the building should be and whether we should have a berm. We're not at that. I mean, we do have things in mind for discussion, but we're certainly nowhere near a point where we're going to sit down and have a negotiation.
So
before
tomorrow
vote.
night, full council, I'll let everybody know, that is the first reading, the second reading where we do have a public hearing for the bill. Okay? You get 3 minutes per speaker. I'm not gonna tell y'all how many to send up
We
there.
have it limited to 5.
But you can rub people the wrong way by having 300 show up and us being there to midnight. But yeah, great. But you know what? You should all come and somebody turn around and go, everybody stand up. That will be impactful to your cause. Because that's what really, but have your 5 good speakers, get your points across and say, listen, we're not going to send these 300 people up to the microphone and you'll get a lot of appreciation.
I'm sure.
But, Council President, I would like to ask your indulgence to allow them to stand, and do that. And he'll allow them to stand and everybody be recognized that y'all are in solidarity of the thing. So that would be a great strategy.
Already in place.
How will
Yeah.
the change of leadership affect this whole thing? That was another big question that we got from.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to lead LUZ, and I don't know who's going to be on LUZ. So, if you were right now meeting with every LUZ, there's 7 members on LUZ, and that is who I would suggest beyond me you focus on.
Yeah.
And this year, for the first time in 6 years, I'm not on LUZ. But those members can change and probably will change.
So
Some may stay, some may leave, so you might have to
duplicate.
go back July 14th when we come back. You might want to get on their schedule immediately, whoever's new, and go see them if you are going to go sit down with council members, okay? The applicant is, and you are too, you just call their assistant, say, I want to get on his schedule, this is regarding Greenland Chase, and the members should see y'all.
I don't think I have their emails.
It's all on
It's
the
all there.
website. It's all on coj.net.
Okay.
Yep. And I know everybody's got it because I've seen a bunch of, y'all are starting to email every council member, and I say, I'm not the only council member that votes on this.
We got them all.
So,
We need 10.
so, yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I heard two different things, 350, 350 feet or 350 yards.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that.
350 feet or 350 yards.
Oh, don't hold me to that. I don't have it memorized. I'm just saying, I heard the applicant say this morning, I think he measured it with a tool this morning, and he said, hey, it's 350 feet. I'm like, okay, but it wasn't for me to.
No,
but,
I don't
but that
know.
was what his rough estimate was this morning when we were, he was looking at the site plan. And
It's
that's
more
what you're
than
gonna hear
10.
him say Thursday, so he'll answer
It's
that.
more than 10.
It's more than 10.
So you said you had some insight into the application process. Now I'm trying to understand, is there kind of a set of building codes or whatever codes that govern land use like this? And if the application includes any waivers or exemptions to some codes?
So.
Are there any waivers or exemptions that would circumvent what the normal permitting process for this facility with, other than the setback, where if they're going to do a setback?
This is not about permitting. This is about rezoning.
Okay. And the
Okay.
rezoning application has some waivers and
The
exemptions?
rezoning itself, we can put conditions in.
Okay.
Plant this many trees, plant these type of trees, with anything, so the zoning code has criteria, to
Mhm.
your point,
Yeah.
that the building code follows, yes.
Yeah. So
If they have to put a fence, which they do between commercial and residential, what the code says it's gotta be 6 feet opaque, 60, some opaqueness or whatever. And I can say, hey, I want an 8-foot fence. I want it to be white. I want it to be, a color. We've done that time. I want an oak tree every 25, I want an oak tree more often or less often. I
right,
won't.
but are there any codes that this height cannot adhere to that they are asking exemptions for as a part
No,
of
they're
the
not asking for any exemptions.
or waivers?
No.
Any public funding going towards this? Has the city committed any public funding or bond money being raised, or any subsidy from the?
Yeah. Now, once again, this is a rezoning. It's a legal process. The city is out of it. The only thing the city has out there is an agreement to use a transfer station if it's ever built. Okay? They just, Waste Pro, before they even went out there to say, oh, I'll build a joint when I find out people will actually buy hamburgers, right? The city has said, if you build a transfer station, here's the agreement that we would work with you on, because there's a cost, okay, to the taxpayer of utilizing that service, and they worked it out. So Waste Pro felt good enough to go out and look for a site, and that's the one they landed on. I know it doesn't make everybody happy, but I did not have any slights. They didn't ask me anything about site selection. It was for sale, and they went and worked it out with the owner to buy it, so.
One question. So let's say if you or your family member was one of the landowners, right?
Don't ask me what
No.
don't ask me that.
No, sir.
Please.
I'm not saying that you answer as a councilman. I'm saying that given the facts that such a station brings to a location, given the facts and figures that we have seen from other, and if you or your family member was one of the landowners, so as a person like me, all right. So what would have been your stance on that?
I can't answer that question.
All right.
Okay. Please don't waste my time with opinion-based questions, please, because we go nowhere. We waste everybody's time, and if we do this Thursday night, we will not accomplish anything, okay? And if we can't accomplish anything, then why am I holding it up? Okay? I will help you if you want to be helped.
So please don't feel a bit
So
offended.
please don't waste my time with asking that. I've already stated in a very nice way that I cannot form an opinion if you don't want me to. You have a question.
Yeah. So was there any other location that is being considered?
I don't know. You'll have to ask. That's a good question to ask the applicant.
Okay.
I gave them some suggestions from what I got from y'all. Okay, I'm not out there looking for locations. It is not my job. I'm not in real estate. But one of your residents is in real estate and did ask me to forward something to them, and I have forwarded 3 alternatives to them. Okay, because I've gotten them from different sources and said, be prepared to discuss it. It's not my place to discuss it.
Maybe an extension, if you don't mind, onto that.
Do what?
An extension question, if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so usually before coming to this level of discussion, usually when the applicant put an application or put in a request that, hey, I have considered these locations and those are not suitable for blah, blah, blah reasons.
So he's asking
Oh.
if an applicant has to declare that they've looked at other locations, and no.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No more than you have to declare when you went and bought your house that you looked at other houses.
Correct.
Okay? Has nothing to do
Oh,
with it.
okay.
They landed on that house, they made an offer for that house, and they're trying to buy that house.
Okay.
You just may not like it if they're buying the house.
No, it's a,
And what they're gonna
we are
do
not
with it.
taking this offense, like Norman said, you know, we are here to.
Process-oriented question, just the LUZ subcommittee of the council, and do they approve or not approve? What is, I'm not an expert.
They're an advisory recommendation, so there's gonna be, by the time, he's asking about what the role of LUZ is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember to
And
repeat
what
the
is
question.
LUZ? Yeah.
So
And what-
LUZ, so we have 19 members on council, everybody has a committee assignment, and 7 members are assigned to LUZ.
It's a
Okay?
subcommittee?
It's a subcommittee, yes. And they will be an advisory to the full council. So there'll be 3 advisory positions offered to council when it comes to the final vote. The planning commission, well actually 4. CPAC, the planning commission, the staff report, and LUZ. So there's 4 possible advisory opinions that we could possibly
The
get.
planning commission and the staff are two different things?
Yes. The planning commission is another board made up of volunteers that get appointed to that board. They're business owners, they are developers, they
Do they
are.
have meetings?
Huh?
Do they have meetings?
Every 2 weeks. Their meeting's on Thursday. So they'll be meeting this Thursday at 1 o'clock, but they won't be taking up your bill. So, you know, it's the first. Yeah.
And the planning commission is they're not a part of the council,
The planning commission is an independent, where he's asked what is the planning commission, it's an independent board that has volunteers appointed by the council and by the mayor, or by the mayor approved by the council, who work on that commission in 4-year terms.
So it's the LUZ subcommittee, the planning commission, the staff report, and CPAC.
Yeah.
And then community input and all that.
Right.
goes in.
Well, those are the 4 advisories.
Yes.
Not counting, then you get into the ancillary, the defendant and the
Will the
plaintiff.
LUZ subcommittee be making a vote then? The 7
Yes,
members vote?
absolutely.
And then the city council, it's kind of like in the federal level.
And
there's
that vote is
subcommittees.
very important at LUZ.
And I guess we know.
I mean, it does happen, and I did it many years ago in Mandarin. If anybody's familiar with County Dock, it was being rezoned, and I voted 1 to 6, 1 against, 6-4 on LUZ. We were actually in the same time period, and we transitioned to July. My committee was the same for 6 members, but not for the 7. So when we heard, I was chair. I kicked the bill back to LUZ because I wasn't happy with the vote, right? That was my power. And when it came back to LUZ, the vote was 2 to 5 against, 5-4, 2 against. But at full council, the Mandarin turned out, and we won 13 to 5. The council, you know, against. So anyway, it can happen, but I won't say it happens very often.
You
but
said the
it
planning
makes-
commission will not take up our bill at the next meeting. Is there a date at which it will take up our bill?
I will look at the calendar, and it's whenever the staff report gets released, it'll be the following Thursday, the following meeting. So in all likelihood, it'll be the 3rd or 4th week of June, probably.
Are they the recipients of the staff report?
Yes, they will see it first, and you can get a copy of it. So you'll email folks when the staff report gets released. You should get a copy of it. And the planning commission will make their, once again, they say they operate just like LUZ. You will have 3 minutes to and your attorney to make your case for the planning commission. I'll just say, their vote is an advisory vote. It isn't city council, but it is important. Okay, and you should treat it the same way.
So then, does the city council vote once these 4 opinions are submitted?
Do what now?
So you mentioned that there's a planning commission board, the CPAC advisor, the
Yeah.
staff report, and the NMC. So does the city council vote after all that is
Full
completed?
council vote.
Yeah, the full council be the following full council after the LUZ meeting.
Because
Yes.
you're getting all their
Getting all the information.
And I don't anticipate that happening at the earliest the end of July, because I'm not expecting LUZ to take it up. It'll be actually the first meeting of the new LUZ, so we're going to be throwing them to the lion's pit.
Give them a litmus test.
See, they may not show back up for the second meeting after this one, but or they hate me, and I may be on the. Who knows? I may be on LUZ. There's a chance. Yes, ma'am.
There's been mention of environmental studies and traffic surveys and things like that. Are we going to have access to those at some point prior to all this voting?
You know, that'd be a good question for the applicant. Okay, the city in their staff report, I know, does school concurrency and traffic. And I have sent somebody some preliminary traffic numbers that I got from my traffic.
I have seen that. I do have a question regarding
Yep.
that because it specifically says
Then my traffic engineer will be there Thursday night, and you step up and ask that question, because I'm not the one to ask it.
From an opposition standpoint, for our group, I can tell you, I'm sure they're gonna have their own subject matter experts. We're bringing in our own subject matter experts as well to address our concerns. So you're gonna probably, on each issue, you're gonna probably hear 2 different opinions, or maybe there'll be some common ground there as far as subject matter experts with regards to specific concerns, traffic being one of those.
Well, Thursday night,
Not for the town hall.
well, Thursday night is not a debate.
Right.
It's not to get into a debate. If you don't like the answer, just don't like the answer, please. Don't get emotional. Just make them say what the answer is, and your attorney will record it. If they gave a poor answer, I'm sure she's taking notes, and it'll be part of her testimony. Just ask the questions, give the answer. If you didn't give the answer, follow-up question certainly is
And you're catering Thursday night, right?
and I'm catering. on my zero budget. But I do want y'all to thank the church for allowing us to do it Thursday night as you're coming in and exiting. Please let your residents know, because
it's
this
on the
church is
events
totally
tab.
doing this
Can
free.
you look it up?
And Christ Church across on y'all's Greenland Road wouldn't even do that.
Yeah.
They would not even talk to me about having this meeting without paying them. And I have no budget to do this. So are we done?
One
So I'll see you Thursday night.
Yep.
So thank y'all for being here tonight. I hope you found it worth it by us having this conversation here as a preliminary.
Yes, we'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Councilman, I have a question.
Oh, hey,
Hey,
Jonathan.
hey, how
Good
you
to see you,
doing?
man.
Good to see you, man. I know that this also affects the city. This is for you too. We're gonna post it on the site, whatever. But anyways, this also affects the city park that's adjacent to the property. And will the same buffer be there for the city ballparks? And has the city
You're
parks-
getting into weeds that
Okay.
you need to ask these questions to the applicant
Sure.
and to the staff.
But has
I'm not going to answer questions, okay?
Sure.
Because that's not my job. My job is to be a judge. You don't go into a courtroom and ask the judge questions, okay?
Yeah.
I'm the judge. I have a vote. I cannot answer. Anytime I answer questions, I start
well, I guess my question is
jeopardizing
this:
because you don't want me to be disqualified, I don't
Yeah.
think, right?
Nope.
Okay.
We want you both.
has that department of the city been brought in on this conversation?
Yeah,
The parks.
planning department to be here.
No, the Parks Department is affected.
Well, it's a planning department issue about
Okay.
buffers and so forth. It has nothing to do with the park.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah,
if
but
they-
no, I didn't bring, the Parks Department has no dog in this hunt,
All
okay,
right.
that I'm aware of. So, I would bring them in if I thought they were relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it is adjacent to the property. The ballparks to the north.
No.
There is a
Yeah.
city park right there.
Yeah.
I know there is,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
don't know if
south.
it's a huge-
But it's south.
No, it's directly adjacent to the north.
North, I meant. That's what I meant. I've got the map in my head reversed. So yeah.
So there's hundreds of kids go play ball there.
Listen,
Yeah. So.
we're testifying. We're
part
getting
of the
into
argument.
testimony, and quit dragging me into the testimony because, once again, I'm trying to.